you very much, LJ. Good afternoon, everybody. A big thank you, first of all, to Barclays, who are kindly hosting us here at their head office in Canary Wharf, and also thank you very much to Facebook for your sponsorship. And indeed, there are lots and lots and lots of people and organisations that we work with who've helped realise today's event. Now, when I started thinking about what I was going to say today, I thought how refreshing it might be for you, the audience, not to have to listen to an opening keynote that began with a reflection on either Brexit or President Trump. However, much as I struggled, it seems there's every reason to make mention of those two rather extraordinary, world-changing events. Because the focus of today is to explore what happens at the nexus, as LJ said, of technology and creativity. Now, you're thinking, how does that relate to our referendum on the European Union and the new President of the United States? Well, very simply, they are the two topics that have dominated not just the UK's public conversation over the last 12 months, but the whole world's airwaves. Both events were driven by the ability of the successful narrator to connect, to energise, to reflect a mood, a sensibility, and to give voice to a vast swathe of people who felt unheard and unseen. And both events were made possible by technologies that enabled and then empowered that connection. Now, we know that public and consumer expectations about purpose, about integrity, authenticity, transparency are increasing, whilst confidence in big business, in large companies, in established institutions, everything from multinationals through to sports governing bodies, through to brands, is waning. These two events harnessed those drivers to achieve victories against all the odds. Today, we cannot escape new truths are crashing into old truths, and they're creating completely new situations. Now, few people believed that the UK, or few commentators, should I say, believed the UK would vote to leave the EU, but it did. Few people believed that President Trump was anything but an outlier, and he won. And few people believed that Twitter was a serious tool for changing politics, but it has undoubtedly played a massive part in creating a new world order. And this isn't just anecdote on my part. Research by Imperial College's Business School demonstrates that Twitter users who backed Trump and Brexit reached out twice as much to people who had opposing views as those who backed Clinton or Remain. It's slightly baffling, isn't it, that a business that has lost over $2 billion in 10 years sits at the crux of our new world order. We're witnessing firsthand the profound implication of what the economist Joseph Schumpeter called creative disruption. And although we've all been involved in creative disruption, and it's very visible in our professional processes and in the systems in our professions, it's only now that we're really beginning to witness the searing impact it's having on our public life and our civil society. Despite our ranking as one of the richest countries in the world, in numerous parts of the UK, it just doesn't feel like that, does it? And this disconnect isn't just about London and the rest of the country. In many places, in Manchester, in Bristol and in Leeds, the shiny new builds in city centres and the bright young hipsters walking hurriedly with their man bags and their macchiatos are anathema to lots of people who live just a couple of miles away down the inner ring road. As we move to an increasingly diversified economy, we need to have a more flexible and responsive approach to growing industrial capability and productivity. This isn't just about adopting and adapting to the economic competencies of the digital revolution. It also means we shouldn't be wasting talent, human capital. The Core Cities Group recently published a report which costed the regional disparity implications on our national wealth. Their research estimates that the difference in GVA per capita between London and their 10 main member cities, so these are big cities in the country, represents a whopping loss to the economy of £66 billion, and the gap is widening. Rather than picking winners, our country needs to invest in the ecosystems that help more businesses succeed and more talent to prosper. We may have reinvented ourselves as a startup nation, and we may rank the third globally for the number of startups that we create, but actually we rank 13th for those that manage to survive and to scale. At our event today, we're going to be exploring how unlocking creativity in our businesses and workforce can fuel growth and build a more inclusive economy. All of us in this room, whether we're from a small business or a global brand, whether we're a creative practitioner or a designer, a marketing director or a banker, we all need to constantly innovate in order to survive. Despite the visibility of the speed of disruption and change, too often the temptation is to carry on doing what we've always done, but to do it faster or harder or better somehow. Maybe, just maybe, it's more productive to take a breath, look around, take stock, and just do it differently. Creative England is in that space of doing things differently. Our core focus has always been to highlight the wealth of creative talent across all parts of our country and explain how leveraging that talent can build a more inclusive and prosperous economy. Our first ever public statement was our belief that talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. And we established Creative England as a vehicle to enable creative talent and the businesses that talent builds to flourish. We believe that unleashing the creative potential found in every nook and cranny of this tiny, tiny island not only drives growth, but it also makes us all happier, more fulfilled, and more content. And these beliefs, again, are grounded in research, evidence, and fact. Statistical research conducted by the clever people at Nesta and Symmetrica found that most creative occupations have higher than average levels of life satisfaction, worthwhileness, and happiness than employment in general. We've called today's event Synthesise because we're working to pull these things together, looking at the crossovers between tech and content, looking at how best to get the big guys working with the little guys, how to reassure business that investing in risky business ideas maybe isn't quite as risky as they think, and to make the case for a different way of doing business. Yes, we all want to create new markets, and yes, we all want to grow profitable companies, but increasingly I think we all realise that we can't do this at any cost. We all want to feel heard and be part of the big picture. In a recent report for EY's Beacon Institute, the team from Harvard Business Review Analytics found that companies who had a clear sense of purpose over and above profit were those companies with a clear leading edge over others. Their findings repeat the research carried out by Jim Collins and Jerry Porras in the 1990s in their seminal book, Built to Last, which outlined how visionary companies, those whose founding principles was not just about making money, returned 6 times more than competitor profit-driven companies. Yes, 6 times more. In the UK, our government took a huge step to helping Britain assume a global leadership role in the creative industries when it began its systematic collection of data in order to measure the growth and impact of the sector in 1998. And this meant that for the first time ever, a value could be placed on a series of previously fuzzy commodities and services. Since then, this measurement has developed to encompass the digital world of Facebook, Apple, Google, and Amazon, of video games and apps, enabling us to understand the development journey of what some are calling the 4th industrial revolution, digitalization as a general purpose technology. Like other GPT, so railways, computers, semiconductors, its main purpose is to connect and to enable. Without the application of purpose and creativity, digitalization is intrinsically empty, I would contend. With them, however, it is world-changing. It was the advent of the road and railways that helped our cities to grow by creating suburbs, and the innovation of the semiconductor that has enabled the individual to carry with him and her the computing power equal to that which guided Apollo 11 to the moon. Likewise, it's creativity that is enabling not just the production, distribution, and consumption of new goods, products, and services, but it's also doing the knitting, creating the connections and the communications that enable us as communities, businesses, interest groups, industries, and nations to converse, to co-develop, and to prosper. Creativity is an innately human skill, one of the very few things that can't be replaced by robotics or supercomputers. To give our young people the skills they need for the future, we must do everything we can to ignite the creative spark in all of them. And collectively, we must play our part in fostering the right skills, capabilities, and behaviours. It's down to all of us to play our part and grow our future talent pool. I think we have to end the binary thinking that engineers are only technical and only artists are creative. Our greatest engineers show huge creativity, and some of our most innovative artists are pushing the boundaries of technology. What we aim to show you today is the depth, inventiveness, and richness of ideas and creativity in so many of the businesses we work with all over this country. One of our key partners today is the Marketing Society. They, like us, understand that there has never been more need for brands and organisations to be brave and indeed to dig deep to find true purpose if they want to prosper. Innovation is not a tick box. It's not a line in a marketing budget. It's not a nice to do. It's fundamental to business success. We know that by working with disruptive innovators, companies and brands can stay agile and relevant in a global world that is changing at the speed of light, and make the difference between those firms which survive and thrive and those that by carrying on doing the same things in the same way will slowly dwindle into legacy. Creative England is constituted as a not-for-profit company, and we describe ourselves as a public purpose organisation. Our interest is in furthering the overall public good and not shareholder value or personal profit. We plough all of our resources back into helping talent to succeed. Our approach is to use the convening power to connect ingenious SMEs with market opportunities, to help creative entrepreneurs find the finance they need to enable the realisation of their business idea, and to help bigger companies innovate by working with the fast, agile disruptors that might otherwise eat their lunch. In all the conversations I have with business leaders, access to talent and innovation is their most pressing business challenge. Our strong regional networks enable us to connect bigger businesses with the new creative and tech pioneers who can help transform and future-proof those firms. What makes our role unique is that we are ourselves investing in and nurturing those trailblazers. So when we connect your company or brand to them, they are, in a sense, already de-risked. But you don't just have to take our word for it. We're very proud to be partners with some of the world's biggest brands, creating opportunities for them to access that distinctly British creative talent. We're now in the 4th year of our successful Green Shoots programme with Microsoft, which supports and nurtures our country's heritage as a founding father of video games development. And more recently, we've embarked on groundbreaking partnerships with the Nominet Trust, with Sky and with Barclays. With Nominet, we've launched I Am Digital, a 1 million fund investing in firms that are creating social impact by closing the digital skills gap for young people. With Sky, we're co-producing TV shows using our access to regional film and TV and content makers across the spectrum of arts, comedy and youth programming. We're also thrilled to have recently developed a more multi-layered partnership with Sky in conjunction with the National Youth Theatre, which provides a unique opportunity for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds to potentially become film and content makers of the future. With Barclays, we've connected something really special. Together, we've conceived Eagle Labs Flight, a new business support and creative inspiration programme, which aims to help scale brilliant high-growth entrepreneurs who are exploring that cross-sector connection between creativity and tech. And later we're going to hear from Steve Hatch about some of the pioneering work and trends that he sees happening in the creative industries. Put very bluntly, we are your gateway to the best of the country's world-class new and emerging talent. Hundreds of creative entrepreneurs who have the potential to operate on global stages. From the filmmakers we work through to the cutting-edge games creators and app designers, Creative England has access to thousands of great ideas and outstanding talent. In the last 12 months, filmmakers we've backed have enjoyed huge success, receiving plaudits internationally in many festivals. This includes 16 nominations and 3 wins for 3 of our films at the British Independent Film Awards and 3 BAFTA nominations. Rachel Tannard, one of last year's CE50, scooped the Best Screenwriter Award for Adult Life Skills. And 2 of this year's CE50 also won awards. Camille Gattin winning the Breakthrough Producer Award for her excellent work on The Girl with All the Gifts, and Notes on Blindness taking the award for Best Documentary. Notes on Blindness, the moving story of a man's journey of losing his sight, took 3 nominations at this year's BAFTAs and was widely acknowledged as one of last year's standout films. The film's strength is not only down to its compelling story, but in the emotive and pioneering way in which it was told. The willingness of that team to look beyond traditional film formats and into the immersive world of VR was truly innovative. And I hope everyone gets a chance to experience this. You can experience them as well, because they're in the Nexus Zone just down the road. So please pop in and have a look at their VR experience. Equally, our iFeature slate has been doing exceptionally well. Hope Dixon-Leach's film The Levelling really delivered on Creative England's desire to amplify strong stories from different parts of the country, and we're incredibly proud to see Hope win the first ever IWC Filmmaker Bursary Award at the London Film Festival. And William Aldroyd, who directed the atmospheric Lady Macbeth, has picked up several awards at Toronto, Zurich and San Sebastian film festivals, to name but a few. The film's due for release in the UK in a few months' time, and I urge you all to go and see it if you get the chance, and I will be utterly stunned if it doesn't make next year's BAFTA nominations. But our track record in great storytelling is only part of the picture. In 5 years, Creative England has supported over 670 creative digital businesses, and in the process helped to create over 1,000 jobs. In addition to this, we've also leveraged over £26 million worth of investment into those businesses as either additional or follow-on funding from those seeking to grow. As an example, Avocarrot, who's one of the very first companies that Creative England invested in, was acquired in September for $20 million. A phenomenal achievement from a tiny, modest initial investment of less than £50,000 from Creative England. Other highlights from companies we've backed include CNET winning the Disruptive Cup in London, PureNet winning 2 awards at the Press Business Awards, and Sponge UK, who were recently named as one of Sunday Times' top 100 UK companies to work for. And finally, I have to give a special mention to one of our previous future leaders, The Flow, who are growing from strength to strength. And last year, they won the Queen's Award for Enterprise. And hopefully behind me, you should be able to see a picture of them. At Creative England, we amplify our reach and our impact by partnering with the private sector, delivering additional value and creating more opportunities for that creative talent, growing the pot for everyone. We don't operate a binary approach. It's not them and us. It's not big corporates against maverick upstart SMEs. Perhaps the greatest impact can be in bringing the two together and building supply chains across industries. We believe it really is time to question old truths. And in today's world, who knows whose truth is true? So here are some old truths I'd like to challenge and find new answers for. We think of our financial sector as world-leading, and it is, and innovative. But the vast majority of lending is still made with buildings and property as security. And that hasn't changed since the days of Adam Smith. What is it that we can do to reimagine how we finance innovation? The conventional wisdom is that it's the businesses that focus most ruthlessly on costs and profits that prosper. Actually, it's the ones that take their social responsibility seriously. What can we learn from those brands that put purpose at the heart of their business? We are a wonderfully creative nation. As I've said, we have the 3rd highest rate for startups, but only 13th when it comes to scaling those startups into sustainable companies that generate jobs. Let's fix that by investing in long-term patient growth rather than trying to earn a quick buck. Business agrees that the future is fueled by digital, but innovation is not entirely about the tech. We know it's just as much to do with content and the creative spark that makes your proposition compelling. In short, I believe that working with brilliant SMEs, filmmakers, tech innovators, AR and VR creators, animators and app designers is not a nice to do, but an essential way for big companies to stay dexterous and relevant in a fast-moving global market. Our experience of working with creative people across the nation is that our future belongs to those who know how to synthesize. Let's end false dichotomies and binary thinking and bring things together to create something new. whether that's bringing the leaders of Europe together to create a new relationship with Britain, fusing creativity and technology to create a new set of skills in our young people, or convening a new type of relationship between big businesses and small companies, innovating a world of new creative and commercial opportunities. Great firms really are the engines of growth, and great firms are the engines of social advancement. These companies are even more important in a knowledge-rich economy. We all need to get a grip on our investment strategy that creates original IP, intangible assets, concepts and ideas that might appear a little crazy to start with, but gradually create new markets. After all, how many of us could predict that mindfulness, meditation and conscious eating could become a multi-billion-pound industry, or that a fantasy role-playing board game of dragons and warlocks and mystical lands would become a global brand? So today, we are going to use this opportunity with you as our captive audience to shine a light on some of those businesses who we believe are doing something really truly innovative and inspiring, who practice the art of synthesis, highlighting leaders we believe will play a pivotal role in shaping a new landscape where purpose, ingenuity, creativity and inclusiveness prevail. Our 6 company values at Creative England are to think differently and blaze a trail, to foster the best, to make it personal, to join the dots and make it happen, to be brave and to take risks, and finally, to bring imagination to life. All of these values are on show today, and we really, really, really hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.